Hey guys, I'll be doing some dry baking with some Red Lobster Cheddar Bay biscuit mix. I like to use this stuff. It's pretty tasty. You could add some spices to it, some shredded cheddar cheese to it. The measurement I use for the size of titanium cup that I use, the Toaks 350, is 2/3 of a cup of the biscuit mix. We'll blend it in with some water. I personally don't follow a set or measured amount of water. As you can see, I wing it when it comes to adding water. I like a more moist mixture. It gives me a more moist biscuit. Also, it allows me to cook it without having to worry too much about burning the biscuit, and also doesn't crumble when I pull it out of the cup. As you can see, I use I was stand corrected. It's a 375 milliliter Toaks cup, titanium cup. I like to bring a baggie of butter with me if possible. I know they have those smaller packets that are easy to carry around, but with a baggie, as you can see, I can rip it open and actually get my whole hand into the cup and smear it all around on the inside without having to worry about butter getting all over my fingers, all over my hands. Please remember to use a good amount of butter. I can't stress that enough. This is what will prevent the biscuit from sticking. All right, so after you've added a lot of butter around the outside, lathered it up well at the bottom, along the edges of the cup, just go ahead and wipe up the brim from all butter or oil, because it tends to burn up the top. Go ahead and scoop in your mixture. As you can see, I like it a little runny. Again, that's so I can have a more moist biscuit at the end, or muffin, whichever you're cooking. Also, it doesn't crumble when you go ahead and pull it out of the cup at the end, or cut it after you're all done baking. Just go ahead and scoop it in. I like to use this mixture because you can put some at the bottom of the cup, add some bacon, or add some sausage crumbles, then put some more of the mixture at the top. It makes for a nice surprise when you're all said and done, and you bite into this thing and find that yummy goodness in the middle. So you want less than half of the cup, as you can see, because there will be expansion as this thing bakes. And if it's too high up in a cup from the get-go, it'll tend to run into the lid, and then you'll have baking issues, plus sticking issues. So it doesn't look like a lot in there, but it will be just the right amount for this biscuit. I like to use a tin spacer at the bottom, prevents burning at the bottom of the cup. Preferred fuel from an alcohol stove is denatured alcohol. So we'll go ahead and add the fuel. I like to use 1.5 ounces to 2 sometimes, depending on what I'm dry baking. One thing I hate is when I run out of fuel and the flame goes out while dry baking, just for the reason that it takes longer, elongates the bake time, or whatever I'm baking here doesn't cook right if I have flame going out while doing it. So I like to know that I'll have enough fuel to last from start to finish. I take my pot, I put these little thin slivers of aluminum foil at the bottom as an extra spacer to have heat all the way around, and also so there's as least contact between the actual cup and the pot. I try to center it as close as I can to the middle of the pot, just so there's a nice even space all the way around. Light up my stove. Make sure that I have a good flame all the way around on the carbon felt. As you can see, it's nice all the way around. And now comes the most important part, the heat reduction sleeve that I've made. I made it out of an Arizona can. What that does, oh, that's mango flavor, flavor, by the way, my favorite. What that does is reduces the flame intensity. It cuts it down. I like to move it around so the vent holes on the stove line up with one of the cutouts there. But like I was saying, it reduces the flame intensity. It prolongs the burn time. I mean, I've gone well over an hour on the fuel that I put in there, and it could go even longer. I use a wind screen. Even in a controlled environment like this, I like to use a blower fan going towards the whatever I'm doing here, just to simulate more or less the what it would be out in the woods while hiking or backpacking or just camping. I like to check my temperatures. As you can see, heat is starting to rise inside the pot, more so at the bottom, of course, because that's where the flame is at. But as you can see, it's starting to rise. Usually, when everything is nice and warm, you'll have closer to 300s, around the 300 towards the bottom, and well over 100 towards the top, right about there. And even at the lid, you'll have over 100, well over 100 when everything's nice and warm. Cook time usually lasts for something about this size, about 45 minutes, I would say, is a safe bet to have a full bake throughout the muffin or the biscuit, whatever you're making. Anything before that could be a little runny inside. Oh, before I forget, this little sliver of aluminum I use to cover the vents at the top of my pot. The less heat you have lost, the better the heat inside the pot. It'll bake better inside. So I'm checking temperatures again. As you can see, it's starting to rise even further. But as far as times go, yeah, 45 minutes I would say is a good time to set aside. And you could do stuff around camp while this thing is going. You'll come back and you have a awesome biscuit or muffin waiting for you. And that's the beauty of dry baking. Awesome. So when I'm done baking, I usually take the pot off the stove, let it sit for a couple minutes because it's very, very hot. But man, that looks good. I was saying it's been about a minute, 2 minutes since I pulled it off the stove, and it's still pretty warm, so you want to let it sit for a couple. So at this point, I just stick a little knife or a spoon, whatever I have, and just kind of go around the whole biscuit or muffin, give it a nice little firm tap, and voila, man, that looks so good. I personally like the little charred corners myself. I know most people don't like that, but it's well done. This is a well done muffin or biscuit, nice and fluffy. I know the top looks a little spongy, but believe me, it's more than well done. Now you can have this with whatever you want, for breakfast, as a side for something, another meal you may have. But the best part, it's nice and warm. You did it over alcohol stove. If you take a look at the inside here, like you can see, it's nice and done, tasty. And now I'm gonna go enjoy this. All right, guys, enjoy.